Would I sell Declan Rice for West Ham? Listen, I'm not going to beat about the bush here. I absolutely love what Declan Rice has become at West Ham. The young lad coming through the youth ranks, being released from Chelsea, West Ham taking him on board and helping him flourish into the man that he has become today. He's performing at international level and week in and week out, giving West Ham next level performances. But we are continuously linked, or he is continuously linked away from West Ham. Now, does the linkage of Declan Rice leaving our club and the rumour and the belief amongst the fans help the club in the long term? Let's be brutally honest, right? When it comes to a player that we believe as fans is going to leave next summer, what does that do for the mentality of the football club? What does that do for the mentality of the fans, of the coaches, of the managers? Now, this stuff could be going on in the background that could potentially convince Rice to stay, but I think we are on the same wavelength with regards to the Declan Rice saga, and it's been going on for so long. Listen, I love the guy. He's a fantastic footballer. He's been great for West Ham, and he gives us everything on the field. And we've always thought that if West Ham do what we did in the transfer market and the players can hit the ground running and we can potentially challenge for a Champions League spot, win a medal, continuously challenge at the top level, and we still could this year, then we would have a better chance at convincing our best player to stay. We've offered him contract after contract, and it's rumoured to be that he has not accepted any of the contracts. Now, he is one of the main midfielders in the England international setup, but what does that mean for West Ham, and how do West Ham manage the Declan Rice saga? It gets to a point, though, where you think to yourself, if we are already anticipating him leaving, then would it not just be worthwhile taking as much money as you possibly can for the player and reinvesting that properly, whether that be into the playing squad, whether that mean into training ground facilities, the youth prospects, the youth of West Ham? I can't help but think that some of the biggest clubs in the world and some of the clubs that have had quite a lot of success in most recent years have had to deal with their best player leaving the club. No matter what it's for big money moves, it's for better weekly wages, it's for better opportunities to go and win medals. But clubs do have to learn how to deal with their best players leaving the club. And if they do receive a fee, then we need to be able to manage what we do with that fee and reinvest that money wisely. We could go all the way back to when we sold Rio Ferdinand to Leeds United. I think we sold him for then a club record for £18 million. And when West Ham agreed that deal and he went to Leeds, we reinvested that money, but we necessarily didn't reinvest it in the right place. We invested it in players like Rigobert Song, just Titi Kamara, just to name a few of the players, and look how they worked out. They didn't work out fantastic. So hindsight's a wonderful thing. Selling a player for a big profit, huge amount of money, huge price tag, and reinvesting that money and guaranteeing you're going to get players in who are going to come and hit the ground running, that doesn't necessarily work. But what also doesn't work is the anticipation of a sale, the anticipation of a player in that squad that we believe is going to go, especially if they have been offered a contract, especially if they've been offered a very big contract, which is what we are led to believe. So with that in our hindsight, with that in our minds, and with the fact that we've got the World Cup coming up, with the fact that we've got 6 weeks to go really of this season until the break happens for the World Cup, and then bang, we're straight into the January transfer window. What does that mean for West Ham? Should we commit to potentially selling Declan Rice? Who would want him? Do Chelsea want him? You're starting to hear a lot of pundits coming out now saying things like, why would Chelsea sign him, for example, when they've got players like Jorginho there who can do a similar job? or can do that and more. Not that I necessarily agree, because I think Declan Rice is one of the best central midfielders the Premier League has got. And in actual fact, I think there's a huge gap between him and the next players below him. The but will be the price tag and what people are willing to pay. But if there's a club that's out there willing to pay that money, that's willing to pay that fee, would you not be willing to accept that money, knowing that maybe under the David Moyes regime, that we can reinvest that money wisely, rather than, which is what a lot of fans would anticipate, that the owners would run with the money? I don't know. It's an interesting one, because you never are going to get rid of this saga. This saga will continue, and it will continue even more if we don't hit the ground running in October. We need to hit the ground running in October now. We've got Wolves next, and we need to get points on that board to turn our season around. And we shouldn't have been in this situation in the first place, but we are, the famous word, going through that transitional period. And I can't help but worry and feel that even if we do well, that Declan Rice could be off in the winter window. Now, there are some reporters out there that are suggesting that they believe he'll be gone. They're saying that he could leave in the mid-season January window. And considering that he was offered a new deal at the London Stadium but declined the chance to sign it, is giving fans and West Ham the inclination that that's where his mindset is at. And, you know, the rumour is that Chelsea are relentlessly chasing Declan Rice and are willing to offer him quite a big contract. But I don't know how long he's really got left at West Ham. But I think we all believe as West Ham fans, he is going out the door. So do we want to keep him? Does that have a negative impact in the midfield? Even though he gives us next level performances in the club, he absolutely does. He anticipates everything that you want from a midfielder. He absolutely does. But sometimes these best players that you get can have a negative impact on the squad. Not that I think he's having a negative impact on the players, but it's the style of play. We're trying our best to accommodate the best position of Declan Rice. He's still flourishing. He's still coming into his own. And you've got a fan base divided by going, we need to give him the freedom to go forward. And then you've got a fan base saying, no, you let him sit back and do all the protection job and go under the radar. He seems to want to get forward and get more interactive with the final third. But what does that mean for West Ham? Is that exactly what we need at this moment? It's such an interesting debate that West Ham fans are having. But what would you do? That's the key question here. What would you do? I'm torn. I'm now torn. I've never been torn before, but with this saga, I've always gone, absolutely cannot sell your best players. But some of the best clubs in the world, like I've said, have had to learn how to get rid and how you sustain losing your best player. Some clubs can make it work and some clubs can't. You could say that Leicester were the most recent club that cashed in. I'm not using Harry Maguire and Declan Rice as an example, but when you sell for the profit and you reinvest into your academy, you're thinking for the future. You're thinking, you're not thinking of the playing squad now, because look at Leicester now. It's not great. But they sold Kanté, they sold Harry Maguire and Drinkwater, just to name a few. And they've reinvested that money into what looks like one of the most prestigious youth academies that we've saw to date. And then you talk about the West Ham's academy and, the training complex, and you look at the comparison. And albeit you could sit there and go, well, I'd rather be in West Ham's situation. Well, I'll tell you something right now. I'd snap your hand off for a Premier League and an FA Cup and be in the situation that Leicester are in just now. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I would. To win the Premier League and to be the FA Cup, that is such a fortunate position to be in. And to have the structure behind you of what Leicester have got behind them in the system. And again, please be mindful of the fact, I'm not saying I want to be Leicester right now, but to be in the situation that they were in is definitely something that us fans could only but dream of. So for me, I'm torn. Do we sell Declan Rice? Do we cash in? Do we reinvest that money in the playing squad? Or do we reinvest that money in the structure behind the club to feed the best of the talent through? Is David Moyes the right man to do that? That's another question we could ask you, because fans are unsure of what the situation is when it comes to David Moyes and giving the youth an opportunity. A.G. Alessi, who's currently at Sunderland, hinted at, Tony Mowbray putting his arm around him and giving him the chance and letting him be the player he wants to be. We don't know if that was a little dig towards David Moyes or not. Now he's playing and he's flourishing in the league with Sunderland, and Sunderland are doing well, and A.G. Alessi's standing out from the crowd. He had a difficult start, wasn't getting much game time, but he was standing out from the crowd. We all can't blame Declan Rice for wanting the best for his career, wanting the best for West Ham as well. And it's a big step up. Maybe the Mark Noble news might keep him around for the 6 months to give West Ham that opportunity. And I think, as a fan, we need to, and we will, I have no doubts about it, stick by David Moyes during this current run of crap form that we're in. But will Declan Rice stick around for the Mark Noble reunion? Because I think that's going to be such a key piece of business to be talking in the ear of Declan Rice, to support him through this transition of him being club captain, proper club captain, the voice of West Ham to the rest of the players. And I think that he has so much to learn, still has so much to learn on and off the field, on his manner and the way he conducts himself. And I think once he clicks with that, and once Moyes maybe clicks with team selections and some of the players get more familiar with the Premier League, and we start to see consistency in players being selected, we'll start to see the best of what West Ham can offer. I really do believe it. I do believe it. I think Declan Rice will stay past the January window. I really do. But if things go absolutely Pete Tong over the next 6 weeks, anything can happen. And as we all know, money talks. Keep your comments coming in. Let me know your thoughts. If you enjoyed this show, hit the thumbs up. Please give me your feedback as much as you can. Thanks for watching. And of course, stay safe. Come on, you Irons.